is that a new normal different than staying on the mountaintop? Because we all know that we got to come off the mountaintop and go into the
Okay.
valley. But how's
Yep.
the new normal differentiate from the mountaintop experience?
Oh, fascinating. Um, it's probably the difference, as we were talking about what Prince of Egypt, the difference of the burning bush and then sort of creating the society as they're going through the desert. The
Oh, okay.
Torah, the rhythms, how we're going to do this. What does this look like in practicality? You're still following what you heard on the mountaintop, but it's got teeth, it's got rhythms, it's got structure. That's why we talk about the mystery and strategy, why you got to hold both.
Yeah.
And other writers on movements talk about how you need both. You need the sail to catch the wind if the wind were going to blow. You need both structure and strategy. The structure, the strategy, and the mystery. How do those things go together? So no, yeah, there's moments where you on the mountaintop, you hear what God is asking you to do. You hear the call. You've consecrated yourself. You've heard it, and now you're doing the integration. You got to come back down, right? And as you come back down, what does it look like then to just to dig in and to go deeper and to let those
Mm.
rhythms sink in? And that's really, with us with InterVarsity, we heard this call 4 years ago. The whole national movement is seeking, we're longing for revival. That's actually what we call it to 2030. And now what are the rhythms for that? What does that mean? How do we integrate that? Well, how does that change our leadership practices? It is these kinds of questions that get kind of strategic again. How do you make this stuff concrete enough so that others can join you if they were invited in?
Do you feel like, I mean, you mentioned for InterVarsity, and I can hear some
Mhm.
of our listeners are going, hey, these are college students. You're talking about revival among college students. Do you think that churches, I mean, we know that they need these practices, but I'm sensing, I don't, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it might be the circles I'm interacting with, but I'm not sensing a lot of churches pleading for revival anymore. I see them fighting, instead of a spiritual battle, they're fighting a political one often. Talking about masks, they're talking about all the different politics that are
Mm.
going on. How do we change that narrative?
Oh, that is the Lord. Such a big thing to change the heart. No, and I think that's true. I think we do have pockets that are talking about revival. And our community, our staff go, all the way up to age 69, 70, 71, as well as we serve students and faculty. So there's sort of a mix there. But it's that revelation. Have we lost our first love?
Mm.
I think I keep wanting to go back to love, and it's such an old school word. You don't even hear a lot of either talks or themes or people just talking about love because it feels so like, oh, God's love, God's love. Sure, 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 right? It doesn't feel, I don't know, Herculean. There isn't like a
Yeah.
sense of kind of vigor in it, but it's got to be the ground. And I just wonder, in we've chased after other loves potentially, like either political power or our vision of some other kinds of things, rather than falling back in love in this relationship with God. And that love fueling devotion, not white knuckling things, not like just trying to get our will engaged, but man, that sense that we had when we first met our spouses, that sense when we first, not that we can always feel that level all
Mm-hmm.
the time,
Mm-hmm.
but there's got to be some moments in the relationship where you're like, you know what, I just love her because I just love my wife, and there's
Mm-hmm.
a genuine affection that's there because you have a healthy relationship. What would it mean to be for us as an American church to return to a first love? Just
Mm.
return first love, back to basics. I have Jeremiah 6:16 sitting on my desk, right? It's thus says the Lord, stand by the roads and look and ask for the ancient paths where the good way is and walk in it and find rest for your souls. And the next line is, but you would have none of it, right? Like it's, and Jeremiah understood his audience.
Do this, but you're not going to get it.
You're not going to do this.
You're
But
not going to do it, but it's what you
I
should
just
do.
think in a time when culture now is trying to take the moral high ground on us,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it we're in a post-Christian society, and
Yeah.
the difference between that and pre-Christian society is that this culture is evangelizing us as much
Yeah.
as we're evangelizing it. In a culture like that, I just think rather than seeking relevance more and more, which is what we did for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Seeker sensitive churches sort of make it really accessible to everyone. What if we sought the remnant, the ones who are really like committed and stoking the kind of faith that wasn't just easy, but something that found love and devotion at its center again? I like how Dallas Willard would put it: is grace is opposed to earning, but not effort.
Yeah. I saw that in the book. You have a whole thing
Right.
on it.
And that's,
Explain
I just
that, though.
think
Explain that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to get into a place where you're earning your way into heaven. That's not the Bible at all. But there is a sense that in going that far in Protestant circles, then we go like, well, then we don't have to do anything at all. there's no effort needed. Jesus did everything that is needed, so we just sort of coast, kick back. When Jesus seemed to be saying, if you want life, you kind of have to die. If you
It's your face right now. If you want life, you kind of have to die.
He doesn't seem to mince words. You want to be great, be the servant of all. You want to find your life, you got to lose it.
Yeah, here's a cross.
And there's a
Take up your cross.
There is a taking up of the cross. There's effort involved, right? Yeah. There's effort. There is a place where we give all of ourselves to Jesus. It's not earning our place in heaven, right? It's just we're working out that salvation he's already given to us. And I just wonder if we've just lost that. We just went, you know what? I get to live my life plus Jesus. I've got my ticket to heaven, per se. So when I get to the barcodes of heaven, boop, I'm in, right? Like, thanks for the sticker.
That's so good.
But
it's like an iPad.
Maybe there's more, right? Maybe there's more. If the word saved in the Bible is being saved and healed and delivered, right? It just depends on the context what that means. Then we're not just saved, we're being saved, and we will one day be saved. Right? And so what if then we knew not just what we were saved from, but what we're saved for? And let that inject our faith again, so that we're not just remembering what has been done, but God is speaking his life and words into our community, so that we know how to respond now as we have front row seats to when God is making all things new. And I just think we've lost those pieces of salvation, and we've sort of made our services more of a memorial.
Yeah.
Things dead.